younger generations, as I've been interacting with them, they've been tackling two things that have both had the word toxic thrown at them. Toxic positivity and toxic masculinity. I'm quite proud of the younger generations because they've taken positivity and masculinity and they've redefined them and they've brought them together. When I was growing up, I don't think those two words would ever be together. They're positivity and, John Wayne, in my younger days, the World War II guy, the father figures, that was masculinity, at least the way we were supposed to think of it, right? I don't see that as being terribly positive. But today you can actually link positive masculinity. And I'm proud that younger generations have realized that that's an important thing. Now, some people think, holy crap, he's redefined it too far. You've taken the masculinity out of masculinity. Or you've created so much positivity that you actually are toxic. That's where the two differ, because toxic positivity is something that many people try to strive for, and toxic masculinity is the thing we're trying to get away from. But both, again, are to the extreme, right? Extreme positivity, extreme masculinity. Those two things definitely don't go together. So, what do I mean by that? Sometimes you can run into somebody who just is so positive in their life. It's all they can focus on are the good things in life, the goodness of life, that they're totally blind to the realities of life. You know what I mean? I've mentioned in this podcast or these morning walks before, I've always liked the lyrics to the old TV show Facts of Life, because there is good and there is bad, and you have to acknowledge both. You cannot just focus on the bad or focus on the good. You have to take into account both and balance them. So toxic positivity focuses way too much on the good and tries to ignore the bad. Good positivity, the positivity I see amongst my friends, sees the bad and rebels against it. And that makes it positive, right? The way this is exhibited is when somebody leaves a comment that's negative, when you've made a post that's positive, and you respond sarcastically maybe, or you call them out, you're attacking their negativity. And I like that kind of positivity. You acknowledge the negativity, but you do not encourage the negativity. See, that's the difference between toxic positivity and real, true positivity, at least from my point of view. Now, how does that go to masculinity? Toxic masculinity is rooted in anger. And I know this from firsthand experience because I saw it. If you know anything about me by now, you know that in 2006 I went through anger management. I had to go to a class with all of these guys who, for one reason or another, got into trouble because they let their anger get the best of them, okay? Now, I was the only one there who got angry with their boss at work. Everybody else had been physically or mentally abusing their significant other, fiance, spouse, ex, now ex. And that, to me, is toxic masculinity. You can't beat on people because you're the strong guy. That John Wayne thing where you know, we came out of World War II thinking what's right and what's wrong. And we had a perception that fighting the enemy was the good. But people were not at war at home. We were at war in the Pacific, we were at war in Europe, we were in war in Northern Africa, Asia, the flights into China and whatnot, all those things. So I think World War II had a negative influence on masculinity. It had an impact on the way we thought about masculinity. And that passed down to my generation without a doubt. But younger generations, as I'm looking at them and interacting with them, they're starting to realize that that's not real masculinity. Getting angry, beating on somebody. So yeah, younger generations have looked at this and said, after years of divorce, of seeing their parents, grandparents, get thrown into anger management for beating up on their wives or kids, being just, bad behaviors, and they're turning it around. And I'm really proud of you guys. You can separate the enemy of war from the enemy at home. It's not the same. The real baby boomers. And so their children are the ones that saw it, recognized it, and said, no more, we're not going to repeat those mistakes that our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and sometimes way back into time, because if, for example, you study European behavior in centuries past, 100, 200, 300 years ago, that strict, no-nonsense stuff. Yeah, my great-grandfather, who was born in Germany, he had no time for silliness. He was of that generation. We're talking the late 1800s, early 1900s. He was of that generation where children should be seen and not heard. In some ways, you could actually link that to toxic masculinity. I mean, if you think about it, there's kind of a connection there. So, that's what I'm talking about today. I don't know if you disagree with me on a lot of what I said. That's your opinion. I have mine, and I just know that things are really getting better. My friends post about it, in fact. At times, they'll say, I'm breaking the cycle. I'm the generation that is not going to repeat the mistakes of the earlier generations. Applause, applause, applause. I thank you guys for doing that, because that's part of healing in our world, part of healing in our society. America needs more of that, and I encourage it. I'll definitely be back right here, or maybe outside, who knows, tomorrow morning. See you then. Bye.